morning after the first night, and I haven't done this in a while. It's probably been a year since the last time we brought my dad to Las Vegas. But I realized, you got to kind of get into sync. And because we had the problem with the flight being delayed and then, in a sense, canceled until the next day, we left one day later. But as I had shown in an earlier post on my Facebook, we had to show up at the airport at 2:30 a.m. and then they told us that it wasn't until 11 a.m. that the flight was changed. And I thought that was really poor service on the part of Vacations Hawaii. They should have called or texted or anything to the people before they came to the airport, or even if it was close to the time, at least let them know so their rides could bring them, back home. Or maybe a lot of people, even this one lady I met from Wailua, they went back to Wailua, and we're from Manoa. We went back and rested a few hours, but again, that was very poor service. But what that did is that affected, like, for example, my dad, because they're not getting good sleep. And normally he sleeps about 10 to 12 hours in the night. He probably slept maybe 4 or 5 and then had to be woken up. Took him to the airport. They told us that the flight was changed, brought him back to the care home. He probably slept another maybe 2-3 hours, got him up again and got him to the airport. So he was really exhausted, although he seemed to be up and kind of not energetic, but more awake and active. He had to be really tired. So last night, I'm looking down here. I'm looking at the baby monitor. So I have him on this video, not video, but on this baby monitor, so I can be in the next connecting room, close the door, so I'm not disturbing him, and I can watch to make sure that if he moves or stirs or he has to go to the toilet, that I can go and get him. But anyway, this morning, he did wake up a couple of times. What I did want to say about the overnight, though, was that he was really tired. So we put him down probably about midnight last night, which would be 10 p.m. in Hawaii, and he slept. We were hoping, of course, that he would sleep long because I was really tired, and I knew that he would get up for the toilet. He said that he normally gets up 3 times a night. So I was thinking, wow, maybe 2 or 3 hours and up, 2 or 3 hours and up. But my sister and I went out to eat really quick dinner, and the line downstairs was so long because it was past 11 p.m. and because this is New Year's season, everybody's here in Las Vegas, and everybody wants to eat that so-called famous oxtail soup down in the restaurant. I think it's called the Plantation Cafe. Anyway, it's in the California. It's probably the most famous in this whole area. So the line was not only long, it was like out the door all the way past the noodle shop, all the way to the cashier. So almost over half the length of the casino, people were waiting for the oxtail soup. So my sister and I decided we can't wait, so we just maybe go upstairs and eat Lappert's ice cream for dinner. But anyway, we walked over to the main street and we found out that we can use the coupons that we have for certain ones, like sandwiches and especially hamburgers. And I wanted to eat a cheeseburger, so we went there, we used the coupon, had a beer. Of course I was a little worried about leaving Dad alone, but he had used the bathroom, put on the CPAP mask, and he was in bed, so hopefully he wouldn't stir. And by the time we came back, probably an hour later, he was fine. And we hoped that he would sleep because he was so tired, and I would be waking up to take him, and hopefully he would sleep through. But so every 2 hours I just suddenly jump up because your antennas are on. You're like ready in case you're a little bit tense if anything happens. And when I wake up and I see him still sleeping there, 2 hours. I got up another hour after that, maybe another 2 hours there, and it wasn't until probably, let's see, maybe 6:30. So roughly I slept about 2 Las Vegas time, so maybe got 4 hours. And then he was stirring, so I took him to the restroom. Well, the downside of him sleeping too long was that, we have him in like Depends, which is adult diapers, and so he couldn't get up to go to the bathroom, which, that's why we have the Depends, which is fine. However, because maybe it was so long, there was some leakage, and of course I had a pad underneath the sheet, but the sheet did get wet. So that's just a whole another thing that I had to deal with, changing him and then changing the beds, put him in my bed, and then I moved to his bed on the other side, and so there was a lot of shifting going on. And of course, by the time I do all of that, I'm like wide awake and I'm lying in the bed but cannot sleep. So that's one of the common patterns, is that as you take care and when you are on the night shift, that you really cannot sleep well, first, and second, once you get up to do something, because even when he goes to the toilet, it might take 15 minutes minimum. He's like sitting there and we don't know how long it takes to use the bathroom, whether it's number one or number two or both. And so I'm just lying on the bed waiting, and I have the bell, the little bing 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 bell next to him, and he's supposed to ring it. So, or he used to be able to flush the toilet. This one he cannot, but and when he would flush the toilet, reach behind him and flush the toilet, then I would go and get him. So, but again, you're by that time you're wide awake, and then I put him to bed and he went to sleep. So that worked. That was fine until the cleaning lady came in like an hour later, and just knock knock bang, she came in, because I didn't put the do not disturb signs on because I forgot. But not only that, my sister didn't want me to lock the top lock, so I left it open so she could come in. So anyway, that's the first night, and that's how it goes, when you are taking your mom and dad or your relatives or your seniors. But it's all part of the game, and you just expect that you won't sleep well for your entire stay in Las Vegas, unless you have someone to switch off with. Now, my sister always says, oh, she'll do it, she'll exchange, but she's such a light sleeper that she would never be able to sleep, and she gets really grumpy and grouchy, and so I don't want her. I would rather be tired than have her grumpy and grouchy, and scolding dad and yelling at me. So it's better that she's in another room, totally on right this time it's a different floor, but and then she sleeps well, so then she can do like the day shift things if I'm tired, or I'll help her out, of course, but she can do the activities or wherever dad needs to go in the day, and she feels good that she got rest. So I think it works out better that way. So if you are taking your senior or your mom or dad, I would highly, highly, highly suggest, in fact, almost like recommend super strongly, that you have at least 2 of you, and maybe even 3.